Tonight, the process of rebuilding starts in Denair Beach. EVRAZ North America is on the verge of being sold. And mourning the loss of an amateur sports advocate.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. As more residents return to their home communities now that immediate wildfire danger has passed, many say they're tired, frustrated, and devastated by the whole ordeal. But as John Flatters explains, those in Denair Beach say they are now focused on what happens next.
Some residents have been calling Denair Beach home for decades.
My dad was a commercial fisherman and trapper up in Rainier Lake, and I became a school age, so they moved down here, and I've been here since 1948. That's 77 years.
A community that grew from just 7 families to hundreds of families has been devastated by the Wildfire, which nearly destroyed Denair Beach in early June.
It's sad. It's just sad. It's heartbreaking. I was just talking to a friend of mine. He lost his wife to cancer a few months ago, and now he lost his home, and he lost all his memories, the pictures and everything else. It's devastating.
Despite the destruction and disbelief at what they were looking at, locals say being back home is a weight off their shoulders.
So this is what is left of my home, and yet this feels better being here than the lost, sick feeling you were left with no supports for a month living outside of here.
I equate it to like having a wake. I always need that closure, and when I go to a wake, you get to see the person who's passed, and it gives you an opportunity to make it real and then move forward and grieve.
Now the mayor says the long road to rebuilding has begun, but first the burned debris needs to be dealt with properly.
That comes with rules and environment legislation and so on. And like a lot of stuff, nobody's ever handled that before in that capacity, so there's going to be a learning curve.
And while insurance might cover the cost of rebuilding properties in the community, residents say it won't bring back the sense of security, memories, photos, or history. John Flatters, CTV News, Denair Beach.
After being up for sale for more than 2 years, it appears EVRAZ North America operations have a buyer. In a news release, Atlas Holdings, based out of Connecticut, says it's set to acquire EVRAZ North America operations, with the deal expected to be finalized in the second half of 2025. The deal includes EVRAZ Steel in Regina, along with facilities in Alberta, Colorado, and Oregon. United Steelworkers Regina has received a letter indicating Atlas representatives will visit EVRAZ North America sites in the next few weeks. RCMP says Saskatchewan's former commanding officer has a new job with the force. Mounties say Rhonda Blackmore has been hired as Assistant Commissioner of Indigenous and Support Services, replacing Warren Brown, who announced his retirement. Blackmore abruptly left her previous role in early June, was replaced by the RCMP by an interim commanding officer until a new one is selected. Now, Blackmore had been commended by many for her leadership since taking over F Division in April of 2021, and that includes the handling of the James Smith Cree Nation stabbings in 2022. A strong thunderstorm with intense hail moved through southern Saskatchewan on Thursday afternoon, and that included hitting the town of Lumsden. Residents say the storm was short-lived, but did come with intense lightning and very loud thunder. Winds and hail did some damage to trees and property. Streets and lawns throughout the town strewn with leaves and small branches. The town even sent out its street sweeper to try to help clean up the mess. Some houses have holes in their vinyl siding from the hail that was the size of golf balls. One Lumsden couple had bought a new truck in January, and now they're already submitting an insurance claim.
And then the hail and thunderstorm rolled through, and now there's rips across the tonneau cover, so it will need to be replaced. And then there's some dents on the hood and on the roof. So I've submitted the SGI claim and in progress with them, and they'll help us out.
And with skies darkening in the west this afternoon, some residents in Lumsden were concerned that Mother Nature may be sending more thunderstorms their way. And with that, we head to Sabine in the Weather Center. Wednesday, Thursday, some pretty extreme thunderstorms depending where you were in the province. Is today a little bit of a better day, or is it still pretty extreme out there?
I don't want to say better because we know these systems always change at a snap of a finger, but they haven't been as intense for at least parts of southern Saskatchewan. Now, as it's making its way into Manitoba, a different story. We did see some tornado warnings just along the Saskatchewan-Manitoba border earlier. Those have since lifted, but we're continuing to see those warnings move into Manitoba, whereas here in southern Saskatchewan, southeast in particular, including Regina, we're seeing those severe thunderstorm watches issued right now, also further up north. But as of right now, it looks like the systems are weakening. We did see some rain come through in Regina late this afternoon, along with some very high wind gusts. Temperatures, though, remaining above seasonal, if not around seasonal. You can see many parts looking in the mid-20s for southern Saskatchewan. A little cooler further into areas like Lloydminster and North Battleford. Still warmer, though. We're still seeing those high 20 temperatures continuing as we head into the weekend as well. But I'll have details coming up on that. In terms of average temperature, normally 24 degrees. We did get up to 27 late this afternoon. And like I said, the warm temperatures continue, but so does the risk of some thunderstorms for parts of southern Saskatchewan this weekend. Those details coming up in your forecast. Lee?
Thank you very much, Sabine. Well, construction is frustrating enough for motorists, but imagine having your livelihood impacted. That is the case for some businesses right now downtown on 11th Avenue. As Damian Smith tells us, instead of hoping to capitalize on the summer, they're dealing with another year of construction.
It's another year of construction for the 11th Avenue revitalization project spanning from Albert to Broad Street. And for businesses on this stretch of road, the 4-year project has been an annual summer inconvenience since 2023.
What we've noticed is that our regulars are supporting us more, but we're getting less of that first-time walk-in customer, of course. Out-of-town customers are reduced, and they don't really know how to get here.
This summer, some businesses around the area say that they're seeing a 30 to 40% drop in sales. The city of Regina says it understands the road work is tough for businesses, calling it short-term pain for long-term gain.
It's frustrating for everybody to work through a construction zone like that. But, you know, I've said it before that we have infrastructure that's as old as 1913 there that does need to be replaced. It does need to get done. And I firmly believe that when it's all said and done, it's going to be a beautiful space, and it'll be built for longevity for the city.
For the Cure Kitchen, the issue has prompted a stronger showing from those who work and live downtown, who are booking large tables in support.
We're hoping that after this construction, something gets developed in one of the empty lots so that it drives more business when we get busier.
Going into their 7th year of business, the restaurant finds the winter season is when they see their highest profits, and the colder months mean a break from road work. The 11th Avenue revitalization project is set to wrap up in 2026. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
A group of Regina doctors is moving its education and social fund out of Canada's major banks in an effort to distance themselves from institutions they say are investing in Israeli arms manufacturing. The doctors are dismayed over Israeli strikes that have targeted medical facilities and personnel in Gaza, and they are concerned that some investment funds on the market, including securities in Israel-based arms manufacturer systems, including funds with ties to Canada's big 6 banks. The doctors say they feel their values are better represented by Saskatchewan-based credit unions as a small way to stand with their medical colleagues in Gaza.
I think what spurred it on is the conflict, the genocide in Gaza, but this would effectively move our money out of being involved in any conflict.
The Education and Social Fund is worth around $280,000. The lawyers for 2 men accused of trafficking a Bangladeshi woman to work in 3 small-town Saskatchewan restaurants are casting doubt on the claims of their alleged victim. The trial of Muhammad Masum and Salil Haider continued Friday in Rosetown, with the defense cross-examining Jody Armstrong, a Tisdale area immigration worker who helped plan an exit strategy for the complainant, whose name is under a publication ban. Court heard the woman had a closed work permit to work at Bob's Dinner in Elrose. The defense alleges the complainant knew knew she could potentially obtain an open work permit, allowing her to work anywhere in Canada if she was a victim of crime. Armstrong acknowledged the two discussed how to get an open work permit, but testified the woman had already detailed her abuse beforehand, including claims she was sexually assaulted by Massam, had wages withheld, and that the two men had made a video of her to use as blackmail. When asked if she made attempts to investigate the woman's claims, Armstrong said no, she had no reason not to believe her, though. The trial is adjourned until September the 8th. A Saskatoon couple is taking legal action after losing their son in an e-scooter crash. It comes as the driver who hit him on the scooter pleaded guilty. CTV's Laura Woodward now on what they are alleging in their lawsuit.
The parents of 25-year-old Austin Walker are suing the driver, the city of Saskatoon, and e-scooter company Bird Canada, alleging negligence led to their son's death. Walker was riding an e-scooter home from a friend's house last June after a night of watching hockey when he was hit and killed on Warman Road. The driver, Wade Chaboyer, has pleaded guilty to impaired driving causing death and failing to remain at the scene of an accident. He's scheduled to be sentenced next month on June 30th under a joint submission. In their lawsuit, Walker's parents allege Bird Canada was negligent for allowing scooters on high-speed roads and that the city failed to establish no-go zones with the scooter company. They also allege Chaboyer was speeding and could have avoided the collision, calling the crash foreseeable and preventable. None of the allegations have been tested in court, and a statement of defense has not been filed. The family is seeking $60,000 in damages. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A longtime staple in Saskatchewan's political scene has written his last column for the Leader Post. Political columnist Murray Mandrick revealed the news in today's edition of the LP and the Saskatoon Star Phoenix. Mandrick covered Saskatchewan politics for more than 40 years, providing a range of coverage, commentary, and scrutiny for elected officials in that time. In his final column, he wrote that he was proud of his kids, ending with a goodbye and a thank you. Well, he was one of the biggest amateur sports advocates in the city. Today, many are remembering Pete Pascoe, a broadcaster, coach, father, and a friend, as he passed away yesterday after a lengthy battle with cancer. Jacob Carr has the details on the legacy that he leaves behind.
We're here on what is obviously a rainy night at the Regina Lawn Bowling Club. Mitch and I, being the finely tuned athletes that we are.
After a 5-year battle with cancer, Pete Pascoe has died. Pascoe was an advocate for amateur sports and a longtime host alongside Mitchell Blair of Locker Talk on Access Communications.
But there was always time for, you can go right through the alphabet: archery, bowling, canoeing, diving, equestrian, fencing. I think Pete was I referred to him in my story, is a human Rolodex.
Pascoe will be fondly remembered by many in the journalism community, including some who got their start in the industry back in the 1990s, thanks to Pascoe.
Well, one of my favorite things was Pete hired me, and then when I was the voice of the Rough Riders for a couple of years, I asked him to come and anchor our halftime at home. I wanted the broadcast to sound big with a bunch of different voices, and nobody had a better set of pipes than Pete Pascoe.
Pascoe also coached Regina High School football for many years, with his final stop being at Sheldon Williams Collegiate. Just before Pascoe would go into palliative care, the team, organized by head coach Chris Latimer, gave their coach a heartfelt send-off.
Chris had almost the whole team do a parade up Pete Street in Lakeview, and came right up to his front door, and Pete would sit on the step and talk to all the boys.
Ball says that Pascoe left a lot of ripples in the community and that he may be gone in body, but he has not gone in legacy and spirit. For Vanstone, he says it was an honor to know Pascoe and that he will miss many things about Pascoe, namely their scheduled lunches at the Bar Willow.
Knowing him was an absolute privilege. And it's going to be really, really tough to navigate life without being able to text him, without being able to call him, without being able to go for lunch. To Pete. Love you, Pete.
Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead, U.S. President Donald Trump shuts down trade talk with Canada. A new technology that could help communities prepare for wildfires. As Canada and the United States seek to reach a new economic and security agreement by mid-July, a new twist today in Donald Trump's trade war. The American president says he is terminating all trade talks with Canada immediately and putting the blame on Canada's controversial digital services tax. CTV's Judy Trin has more.
As the Prime Minister was hosting a virtual meeting to update his cabinet on U.S. trade negotiations, the president dropped a bombshell. On social media, Trump said because of Canada's digital services tax on American technology companies, he's terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately.
We have all the cards. We have every single one. We don't want to do anything bad, but they have, economically, we have such power over Canada.
Speaking to CTV News after the Trump announcement, the Foreign Affairs Minister says the government is committed to continuing talks.
We will seek to have these unjustified tariffs removed, and that is the reason why we, because of the complexity of the negotiations, will not be having that conversation in public.
Tech companies that have revenues of more than $20 million, like Google, Meta, and Airbnb, are subject to the 3% digital sales tax. The first payment is due Monday. It's unclear if the Prime Minister knew this was coming, but in Brussels earlier this week, Carney spoke more cautiously about the progress of trade talks.
We'll do what's right for Canada. We're working hard to get a deal, but we'll accept the right deal with the United States. The right deal is possible, but it's nothing's assured.
Over the past several years, both the Biden administration and Trump have called the digital tax discriminatory against American companies. This former Deputy Prime Minister says the tax can be scrapped to save negotiations.
I think the digital services tax is expendable in the context of getting a trade negotiation settled with the United States. But I don't think that you give. If you've got something in a negotiation that you're willing to give up, you don't offer that off the top.
For months, the government has been trying to get punishing U.S. tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos removed and stave off future duties. Now Trump says he will tell Canada, along with other countries, what tariff rate it will pay. The Parliamentary Budget Officer estimates that the federal government would get more than $7 billion over 5 years with the digital services tax. Analysts say it's unlikely Donald Trump will return to the negotiating table without the removal or pause of this tax. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The impact of the trade war with the United States is being felt by the Canadian economy. Stats Canada says Canada's GDP edged down in April, its largest drop in 3 years. Overall, the country's gross domestic product edged down 0.1% in April. That follows a 0.2% increase in the month prior. The manufacturing sector saw a notable hit, 1.9%. That was the sector's largest drop in 4 years. Wholesale trade also saw the same decrease, its largest since 2023. A former Canadian Prime Minister is offering a possible solution to the Arctic's pressing infrastructure gap. Stephen Harper says the best way to build much-needed infrastructure in Arctic is through military spending. Harper says the funds can be directed to the construction of roads and runways to increase the flow of goods and lower the cost of living. He spoke today at an Arctic security conference in Nunavut. Harper served as Prime Minister from 2006 to 2015. In BC, an MLA's constituency office is closed after an explosive was detonated outside the North Vancouver building. 2 blasts were reported in the middle of the night. RCMP found the front of Infrastructure Minister Brian Ma's office damaged by an explosion. Mounties say there's evidence some type of device was set off. No one was hurt. Police have not released any information about a possible suspect or potential motivation. After a devastating spring in Western Canada, communities across the country are on alert as we enter peak wildfire season. In one British Columbia town that includes embracing new technology that is powered by AI that has eyes on nearby forests 24 hours, 7 days a week. Andrew Johnson has the story.
In BC's hot, dry Okanagan, there is a new tool in the fight against wildfires: artificial intelligence.
The days of seeing smoke and then trying to figure out what's going on are kind of over.
24 hours a day, the community of Vernon and neighboring Predator Ridge Resort are protected by a system designed to detect wildfire before flames are even visible.
Before we received the first 911 call from a person in the park, the sensor was picking up the spikes.
The system is called SenseNet. It integrates AI-powered smoke-detecting cameras with satellite data and advanced sensors.
Sensors are essentially little mini weather stations in a lot of ways.
There are more than 100 sensors strategically placed across Vernon and Predator Ridge, many in wooded areas like this, monitoring everything from humidity to soil moisture, even gases in the air. When a sensor picks up the signs of smoke or fire, the cameras will zoom in on that spot and send out an alert.
We've had a number of alerts. This is actual wildfire that's out by Maple Lake right now.
Fire officials say early detection isn't the only benefit. The system's AI can also predict how fast a fire may grow and in which direction. Critical information for planning an evacuation.
It can tell you, okay, I need to get this group of people out first, and I've got this much time to do it.
The city used a federal grant to cover the system's startup costs, and it pays $35,000 annually for maintenance. The resort purchased extra sensors on its own that are shared with the city.
For the value of the tool, when you look at embracing a new technology, incredible value for the taxpayer.
Considering what we needed to protect and what we're hoping is going to be a positive impact on insurance rates too, through something like this, that was an investment we were prepared to make.
The CEO of Vancouver-based SenseNet, which has installations in 5 countries, says he believes the biggest obstacle for most communities is not cost, it's mindset.
Even if you have money, you prefer to buy a new fire truck instead of investing in the prevention technology.
Technology fire officials here believe could save homes and lives. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vernon, BC.
And Donald Trump says there could be progress between Russia and Ukraine soon.
President Putin called up and he said, I'd love to help you with Iran. I said, do me a favor. I'll handle Iran. Help me with Russia. We got to get that one settled. And I think something's going to happen there.
Speaking in Minsk, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he's open to more peace talks. He also criticized NATO's new spending target, claiming it's based on a false pretext of Russian aggression. Still ahead, after more than 40 years unoccupied, a developer looks to bring new life into the Grand Hotel in Shaunavon.
The province is making moves to ensure you are safe at the beach. Monday morning, Saskatchewan's Chief Medical Health Officer on the new Healthy Beaches Monitoring Program.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
Welcome back. It looks like we've now seen things calm just a little bit after a little bit of rain making its way through through the city late this afternoon. So we're starting to see the clouds clear but even in the background we're seeing a little bit of that formation with the clouds, suggesting that we're still probably seeing some rainfall in the distance. But in terms of what we have here in the Queen City, we're continuing to see those clear skies return, the sunshine return, and the temperatures still staying quite warm. 25 degrees is what we're sitting at right now. Winds at about 10 kilometers, just under 10 kilometers an hour. So we are starting to see the winds calm as we head into this evening as well. That'll change as we head into tomorrow, but we'll talk about that in a second. In terms of what we've got going on here, still, we do still have some severe thunderstorm watches in effect for the southeast and even further up north. But in terms of warnings, nothing in terms of warnings. I don't see that we could see any warnings now, as we are seeing a bulk of that system making its way into Manitoba now, but we're still going to see those severe thunderstorm watches in effect with the possibility of the development of a thunderstorm. But again, like I said, much of that system has made its way into Manitoba, and this is what we're looking at in terms of what we've got coming up in the next couple of days. So again, we're going to continue to see scattered pockets of precipitation, some storm cells making their way through as well, and you can see that still evident right here around the Lloydminster, Saskatoon area. And as we head into tonight, though, we will see much of southern Saskatchewan clear. Prince Albert could still see some scattered showers later tonight into tomorrow morning. And for most of the day tomorrow, we will see clear conditions until we get back to, well, around late afternoon, just like today and the day before. Tomorrow, late afternoon, we'll see the precipitation return. This time, it looks like it's going to be focused more so around the Saskatoon, Prince Albert area. North Battleford looking like they could get quite a bit of precipitation as well over the weekend, and I'll show you that coming up. As we continue to head into tomorrow, though, by the evening, it looks like we'll see most of it clear up. Again, Maple Creek could see some precipitation come through, and then returning again. So Sunday morning, rain mostly in the Saskatoon, North Battleford area, eventually making its way down into the Regina area as well by late afternoon Sunday. That system clearing out, and then by the time we get into Monday, we'll see much of the province looking at clear conditions. Real quick look at what we could expect for rainfall totals between now into Monday afternoon. So yeah, North Battleford could see up to 40 millimeters of rain, 15 for Yorkton, trace amounts for much of southern Saskatchewan. Saskatoon could see 25 millimeters of rain, and then up to about 6 millimeters down in the Estevan area. So something to keep in mind if you are doing any traveling, as you know, Tuesday is Canada Day, so many may be taking an extended long weekend this weekend. So there is rain in the forecast for some parts of the province still. Temperatures, though, still staying above seasonal for many parts. Lloydminster looking a little cooler tomorrow, 16 with showers, 22 for Prince Albert. And again, for the most part, just because of the systems that are coming through, we will see some areas a little cooler than the average. But again, most areas staying within the average, if not warmer, like Estevan, 28 and mainly sunny tomorrow. For Regina, dipping to 14 tonight. Tomorrow, 25, mainly sunny with the chance of some showers. And yes, it could be just around kickoff tomorrow. So this is a look at your game day forecast. I know we had AJ Allen give you an updated look at what we could be, or game day forecast. This is the updated look. So we'll see some scattered showers first thing at the start of the game, but as we continue throughout the game, we'll start to see conditions clear up and not have that rain sticking around. But here's a real quick look at the next 7 days. So again, tomorrow game day, 25 degrees is the daytime high, and that's around what we'll expect for kickoff, which is at 5 o'clock. And then as we continue into your weekend, again, a cooler day on Sunday with some strong winds, but 27 Monday. By the time we get into Canada Day, mainly sunny conditions, 27 degrees. And then the warm-up continues for your first full, well, kind of full week of July. Is that fair to say? Kind of full week. First kind of full week of July.
First kind of full week.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Love the warm temperatures, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be mad about those.
All right. Well, people that need rain. But
well, yes.
Yeah. Thanks, me.
Okay.
Well, it is considered one of the oldest buildings in Shaunavon, Saskatchewan. The Grand Hotel, once a stopover spot for travelers, has sat empty for more than 40 years. Now, one man is on a mission to restore the nearly century-old building, aiming to return the hotel back to what it once was. Angela Stewart has that story.
Shaunavon, a quiet southwestern Saskatchewan town, built on agriculture and oil, but this small town is rooted in history. At its center stands a piece of the past, left vacant and untouched for years.
This is the definition of a neglected building and not an abused building.
The Grand Hotel hasn't lived up to its name in decades. Kent Caremaker plans to change that.
I have everything original to work with, and so the plan is to revitalize every element of the building and put it back into use.
Constructed near the end of the Roaring 20s and the beginning of the Great Depression, the Grand Hotel opened to the public in November 1929, advertising hot and cold water in all 38 rooms, steam heat, and up-to-date furnishings. One could rent a room for just $1.25 per day.
It was run as a hotel by the Chinese family until 1940, when two of them were actually murdered in the front of the hotel.
Just 2 months before the murders, an RCMP officer was shot and killed in the very same spot. His picture still hangs at the front of the hotel. Eventually, the Grand Hotel was turned into an apartment block, known as the Beverly Court.
Lots of people would be using it as a boarding house, as a room to rent, and spend whatever. A lot of what I can recall is that a fair number of them were young women who had come to town to work.
One of the last 2 residents to rent a unit here was Jamie Mercer, who worked in the town at the age of 17.
Looking back, I think, how did I ever stay here by myself? But 17-year-olds are kind of fearless, I guess.
Despite living alone and the building's history, Mercer made the small space her own.
I believe I had a small table right there, bed. Pretty much that was it, a bed. There's a closet, so.
Today, that same second-floor unit, once a home to Mercer, is being restored. Much like other areas in the hotel, Caremaker has already completed work on, entirely on his own.
The roof has been replaced. The bulk of the electrical, including all the switches and boxes and everything, all of the main lines coming through, has been done. I've replaced over 40 broken panes of glass, resealed and repainted all of the lower level exterior windows.
With a clear vision for the restoration, Caremaker plans to bring back the Grand Hotel's original 1929 charm.
Black and white maid outfits, and I'll be in a 3-piece suit with a pocket watch fob and everything. I don't want there to be any sign of electronics that didn't exist in 1929. Bathrooms will be shared, with a couple exceptions. Suites have private baths.
With the original 1929 boiler system out of commission, there's no running heat in the building, so work on the restoration is limited to the warmer months. Caremaker expects to have the renovations wrapped up in about 4 years' time, just in time to celebrate a grand reopening on the hotel's 100th anniversary. Angela Stewart, CTV News, Shaunavon.
Still ahead, Trevor Harris isn't ready to go because of a concussion, so Jake Mayer will start a quarterback for the Riders versus BC. When the Riders take to the field Saturday night, they'll do it without their starting quarterback. Trevor Harris has been added to the 1-game injured list after not passing concussion protocol. But as Donovan Mays tells us, the Riders do have a CFL veteran ready to take the helm in Jake Mayer.
It's official. Trevor Harris is out for Saturday night's game against the BC Lions.
We were kind of trying to decipher what was what, but, you know, once we did declare that to put him into protocol, there's certain steps you had to take, and, you know, it just, like I said, it just didn't match up time-wise.
As a backup quarterback on any team, you never know when your number is going to be called.
As a result, backup Jake Mayer will be under center for the Green and White, making his first start since being acquired by the club in December.
You learn pretty quickly that you just pretend like you're the starter. And then you wake up on game day and you're not, you know, and you're just there just in case.
Mayer has made 45 CFL starts, all as a member of the Calgary Stampeders. And despite not being cleared to play, Harris has been heavily involved in this week's preparation, something Mayer credits to his own readiness to take the reins.
Specifically likes to look for certain things throughout the week and just to be a fly on the wall on that and say, you know what, like I can adopt this.
We got full confidence to have to execute with Jake being back there.
On the other side of the ball, Lions head coach Buck Pierce remaining tight-lipped on Nathan Rourke's availability. The quarterback was a limited participant in practice all week and is listed as a game-time decision.
Today is no indication of what might happen in the next few days. So you want all your quarterbacks to make sure, you know, they're comfortable.
There's a reason coaches do it, you know. You have to be prepared for Bryce as well. So it's just part of doing your due diligence as a coach and being able to have answers for the guys.
So league rules say that BC has until 1 hour before kickoff to make a final decision on Rourke's availability. And if he's not a go, expect Jeremiah Masoli to get the nod in his place. Kickoff tomorrow night is 5 p.m. at Mosaic Stadium. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
First round of the 2025 NHL Draft got underway about an hour and a half ago with the Saskatchewan player hearing his name 10th overall.
With the 10th overall selection in the 2025 NHL Draft, the Anaheim Ducks are proud to select from the Brandon Wheat Kings, Roger McQueen.
Saskatoon's Roger McQueen, a forward with the Wheat Kings, expected to be a first-round pick, and he definitely was, as he was picked by the Anaheim Ducks 10th overall. Only played 17 games last year because of a back injury. As well, Macklin's Cole Reshny, a forward with the Victoria Royals, could hear his name later in the first round. He had 92 points last year. And one other player to mention, Moose Jaw Warriors forward Lyndon Lakovic from BC is a projected first-round pick as well. He had 58 points in 47 games. And Michael J. Fox is getting a visit from the future.
Boy. Michael, I'm here from the future.
Defenseman Charlie McAvoy dropping by, looking older, to give the latest team jersey design to Michael J. Fox. The Bruins unveiling their new uniforms for the new season. A little bit of a change, not much though, as they can't really change too much of an iconic Bruins jersey.
Your sweater.
Still to come, a large book sale is underway in Regina for a worthy cause.
We're going to take a look at your rural forecast for tomorrow, and same story as what we have been seeing over the last few days. Some areas could see a risk of thunderstorms. Some areas could see just some scattered showers, but we will continue to see those warm temperatures continuing. However, in parts of central Saskatchewan, we will see some of those areas start to get a little cooler coming in from the west, just because of the system that's bringing that colder air coming through as well. So some areas will be in the high teens, 17 for Lloydminster, 19 for Spearwood. You can see many areas across that Melfort, Spearwood, Lloydminster, and even down in Watrous could see some heavier rainfall coming through. And then areas like Hudson Bay, Outlook, Kindersley, just some scattered showers with that risk of thunderstorm. Wynyard 23 and a mix of sun and cloud there, 22 for Outlook and 24 for Hudson Bay. And as we get closer to the southern border, not as much precipitation this time around, but very warm temperatures continuing. Rosetown could see a risk of thunderstorm, 21 there, 23 mostly cloudy for Leader, 24 and a mix of sun and cloud for Maple Creek. Over in the southeast, 26 for Broadview and Kenora, mix of sun and cloud, mainly sunny for Carlisle, 27, and for Coronach, 27, mainly sunny. In Lumsden, Pilot Butte, Rockland, all mainly sunny, 25 degrees. If we take a closer look at Langenburg, located about 250 kilometers east of Regina, and also where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel. 25 degrees tomorrow, mainly sunny, could see a slight chance of some scattered showers late in the afternoon. Winds up to 40 kilometers an hour, but a beautiful weekend ahead.
Well, a big book sale is taking place in Regina this week. It's an annual fundraiser for the Lifelong Learning Center at the University of Regina. The proceeds are used to help cover the costs of courses and activities for seniors. An estimated 100,000 titles are available for purchase.
A very wide selection of everything. Lots of fiction, of course. We even have a popular authors section. We did have lots of children's books, and they're going very, very quickly. Lots and lots of CDs, DVDs, LPs, puzzles, games, and all kinds of nonfiction, and some very old books, which fascinate me.
The big book sale continues Friday, Saturday at the Highland Curling Club. Saturday, it's half-price day. Well, the summer is a busy time for festivals, and those events could be a ripe time for pickpockets. Police are warning you, you may want to keep your valuables close when you're at these events. John Woodward has more.
Within a year, I had like 3 phones stolen from me.
An unlucky year for Anif Williams, whose cell phones and him are quickly parted.
It's ridiculous, man. It's not cool.
His phones were mostly taken when he was distracted on the subway, but police are pointing to the upcoming Pride Festival this weekend as a place where the exciting things to see turn into an opportunity for thieves.
We saw a significant uptick, particularly last year in Pride. Up over 300 cell phones were stolen.
Pickpocketed from people who were distracted or trusting, like Mihail Adler's family. They put a phone down for a moment at Mel Lastman Square recently.
It's a big phone, and literally moments later it was gone.
His screenshots show the phone taking a trip first to 2 addresses in North York and then an address he didn't expect.
Then about 4 days ago, it ping that it was in Vietnam.
Among many phones traded internationally, one way to escape the remote resets customers can put on them.
So a lot of phones that would not function here in North America will function just fine on a different continent.
Security expert Claudio Popa says thieves try to take a phone while it's unlocked to sell it for more, but if not...
Cell phones can also be taken apart to their core components, and they are worth a lot of money because screens, batteries, cameras, and chips have a ton of value.
And then there's what's on your phone. A Fox station in Minneapolis showed how thieves used bank apps on stolen phones to drain hundreds of thousands of dollars. Similar organizations expected to be operating here.
I will be surprised if they don't. What we're asking people is even to keep things tight, close to their body, in bags in front of them, in pockets. Just be aware and be mindful.
Advice Williams is now following.
I'm more responsible.
He hopes people this weekend will do the same. John Woodward, CTV News.
Markets going in different directions. The TSX dropped 59 points. The Dow Jones, a good little jump by 432 points. How about the Canadian dollar? It went down almost 0.4 cents to 72.96 cents U.S. Commodities, gold down $53.59 today. West Texas Intermediate crude up 28 cents. Western Canadian Select crude down 31 cents. And gas in Regina is commonly found right now for $1.31.9 cents per liter.
The Canadian economy contracted in April by 0.1%, and no surprise, the biggest decline came in manufacturing. That's the month tariffs would have hit hard, with Canadian steel, aluminum, and auto sectors all targeted. Manufacturing was down almost 2%, the biggest drop in 4 years. Statistics Canada also released an early estimate for May's GDP, predicting another drop of 0.1%. U.S. consumers spent less in May by that same number, 0.1%. Americans, like many others, bought earlier in the year to get ahead of tariffs. It was the second drop in U.S. spending this year. Nike stock rocketed up 15% today. The sneaker company reported earnings yesterday that weren't great, but analysts say Nike is on the road to recovery. Nike sales have been weak for the last few years as it failed to accurately read what consumers wanted. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Right back to us. We have no idea what's coming up after the newscast. So stick around. NASA has released a new image suggesting water once flowed on Mars.
Yeah, the picture shows a series of crisscrossing ridges known as a boxwork pattern. They're believed to have formed from groundwater trickling through rock cracks billions of years ago. Minerals left behind by the water hardened within the rock. And after eons of sandblasting, the rock was carved away, revealing the network of ridges. The images were captured by NASA's Curiosity rover. That's actually kind of cool.
Rover.
Science.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, I love this. There's a new crew in town called Dolly Crew.
Dolly Parton and Motley Crue teamed up for the reimagined track from '85 called Home Sweet Home. A portion of the proceeds from this song will go towards the Covenant House. Covenant House offers 24/7 crisis care, housing, and support services for families. Motley Crue is also releasing a singles collection called From the Beginning, which will be out in September.
So we have seconds left on the Keep going.
Home Sweet Home.
That's how we're going to wrap it up.
Sweet Home, Alabama.
Are you going to sing?
No.